Welcome to the Jungle, Bengals fans. I'm your host, Kyle Phelps, and we're getting into the NFL Power Rankings today. I write a Power Rankings column on atbnetwork.com, so I figured I'd give it to you guys in video form too. Basically, the way this is going to work, because I don't want this to be a 3-hour-long video all the time, is I'm going to group the teams into 6 different categories and talk about them in that context, rather than spending like 5 minutes on every team, and then by the end of the video, it's basically taking as long as an actual football game. If you do want a paragraph of content for every single team, I'll link the written version of the Power Rankings in the description for every single episode. But for now, we're just going to do it this way, and I think it'll be fun because every single team's going to get a little bit of attention. Instead of a lot of these other YouTube Power Ranking shows where they only talk about the top 10 teams, we're going to talk about all 32 teams. But obviously it's going to be a lot less in-depth for each team. So let's go ahead and get started. So at the bottom of the NFL, you've got the 6th category, which I call Tank Time. You've basically got the worst teams in the NFL in this category. That's basically my bottom 5 here. So we're starting off at number 32. We got the Detroit Lions, who are currently 0-8, and it's like you can't really argue with it anymore at this point. They're not. It doesn't even really feel like they're. I'm sure they're playing hard. They're professional football players. Everybody's playing hard. But it really feels like they're kind of checked out at this point. Number 31, you got the Houston Texans. The Texans aren't faring off much better. They did get that win in the first week of the season, but ever since then, it's just been a crap fest. It's just been bad. Number 30, you got the Miami Dolphins, and I don't know what else to say. Like everybody thought that this team had such high potential with Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa and all these amazing draft hauls they had every year. And to be completely honest, the Dolphins might need to trade Tua for Tua's sake. I think Tua might be better off, and I could totally see him having like a Drew Brees career revival somewhere else. And it's funny because the Dolphins were purported as this is the team that you want to go to if you're a young quarterback in the draft and you want to go somewhere that's got some promise. It's the Miami Dolphins. That's the team you want to go to. And I didn't really quite understand at the time why, because the Dolphins hadn't been good in years and there was a ton of dysfunction going through that organization. And they're starting to show it now. Number 29, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're bad. Urban Meyer is just not getting the most out of that team. They might win 1 or 2 more games all year. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. Trevor Lawrence has been kind of steadily improving a little bit each week. So at the very least, the quarterback's doing all right. But the Jaguars just need so much help right now, and it's just not happening. And then finally at number 28, you got the Washington Football Team. And it's just the wheels are starting to fall off. Everybody thought that this defense was just going to be spectacular, myself included. I if you watch the Battle of Ohio podcast predictions, I've been predicting them to win a lot of these games, and they haven't because the defense can't get the job done. Next, we're going to move along to the bad teams. The category I've got it marked as bad. These are the bad teams. So number 27, you got the New York Giants, who just lost to the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football. And, I said it in my article, they played them hard, right? They came this close to taking down the Kansas City Chiefs. But at the very end, Daniel Jones does the most Daniel Jones thing in the world. He fumbles the ball away, and then Billy Price picks the ball up, runs 8 yards, and then he slides to avoid contact on a 4th and 15 at the end of the game. Number 26, you got the New York Jets, who were actually up 3 spots from where they were last week. I had them at number 29 because it's just been awful lately. But that was a really nice win. And what the Jets are doing is, they're still a bad football team, but they're putting together some results against good teams like the Cincinnati Bengals, like the Tennessee Titans. Those are the 2 teams they've beaten. And they're putting together these results. They're putting together these wins, and they've already equaled their win total from last year. Number 25, you got the Atlanta Falcons, who are down 2 spots after losing to the Carolina Panthers. If you get to 4-3 after this game, I mean, I know the Panthers aren't a particularly good team, but if you got to 4-3, then suddenly you can start talking about maybe the Falcons can turn the season around. Maybe this isn't the same old Falcons team. Maybe Kyle Pitts was an amazing pick, and he looks like he's been a pretty good pick so far. But they didn't get it done. Matt Ryan had a really bad game against the Carolina Panthers, and so sorry, Falcons, y'all are going back down on the power rankings. Number 24, we got the Denver Broncos, who I don't even I don't even know what to make of this team anymore, man. It's like, yeah, you beat the Washington football team, but great. You also beat the Giants. You also beat the Jets. You beat the Jaguars. This is the same problem they've been having all year. Yeah, they can beat these bad teams, but they can't beat the good teams, and that's the problem. And you're going to have to beat some good teams to be considered a good team. They just traded away Von Miller. So, I mean, I think the Broncos are getting ready to just completely rebuild. 23, you got the Chicago Bears, down from 20. And it's getting bad, guys. Justin Fields had that amazing highlight run where he kind of did some Lamar Jackson-like things. That's really about the only thing that really looked great from the Bears this week. Number 22, you got the Philadelphia Eagles, who are way up from 26 because they put a hurtin' on the Detroit Lions. Now, they ain't the first team to blow the Detroit Lions out, basically shut the Detroit Lions out in their own turf. But it's always impressive when you do that to an NFL team on the road. Maybe we can start getting you out of that bad category and you can start, kind of maybe sniffing the playoff hunt. Doesn't mean I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to the playoffs this year, even if they win a few more games in the next couple of weeks. But you could earn some respect. You could build some momentum. Your players could be like, I see the direction. I see what we're doing here. I don't feel like we're just wasting our time. These next 5 teams, I think, are all in the playoff hunt. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think that they're going to make the playoffs. It means I think that they're in the position right now, after 8 weeks, to be kind of in the playoff discussion. Number 21, you got the Seattle Seahawks, up from 22 last week. They're desperate to get Russell Wilson back, man. I mean, Geno Smith's done a few good things here and there, but for the most part, he's been losing them games at the end by just doing the most Geno Smith things of all time. But this week, they beat the Jaguars, at least. I know it was in Seattle, and it's the Jaguars, but honestly, any win in the NFL is a good win, especially when you're struggling this season like the Seahawks are, especially a dominating one like the Seahawks got this week. So I'll give the Seahawks credit for that. Number 20, Indianapolis Colts, up from 19 last week. They played the Titans close. If they hadn't already played both of their games against the Titans and been swept already, I'd say maybe they could go beat them now because the Titans lost Derrick Henry in this game. But they didn't. You're not going to go win the division. It's just not going to happen. But the Colts have played a lot of teams close this year, and if they can just figure out how to put these games away, I really see the Colts as one of those teams that kind of come on strong near the end of the year. But you do got to start putting these tough games away. Number 19, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are up from 21 last week. The Steelers went in and got business done against the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, and they're now winners of 3 in a row. After they started out 1-4, and there was that weird game against Buffalo. I don't really count that as much of an impressive thing or an unimpressive thing on either side. The way the Steelers have been winning games lately reminds me of last year when they got off to that 11-0 start, and I was trying to tell people, don't overreact, guys, to the Steelers going 11-0. A lot of these games they're winning are really, really close, razor-thin margin games against really bad teams. Number 18, you got the Carolina Panthers, and they're sitting at 4-4 right now. They did just beat the Falcons in their defense, and Sam Darnold didn't look any better. So, I mean, you still got some massive problems there in Carolina. You've also got some things to build on, so it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely not looking as good as it was looking when you started out 3-0 and everybody was like, the Carolina Panthers, the big hot team of this year. And finally, for the playoff hunt category, you got the San Francisco 49ers, who were sitting at 3-4. They were 17 last week, and I didn't really feel like giving them any boost, I guess, this week. because I really felt like the Bears kind of beat themselves in this game, and the 49ers really didn't do much of anything except take advantage of it. Now, you got to take advantage of those kind of games when they happen, and I'll give credit to 49ers for doing that. But I'm not going to give them a significant boost in the power rankings just because they barely came back and beat the Bears. All right, so the next category is the playoff hopefuls. These are teams that I think are expecting to be able to make the playoffs. So first, number 16, really the dead middle of the pack for the NFL. You got the Minnesota Vikings at 3-4. I had them at 13 last week, and I knocked them down for that loss to the Cowboys. But let's be completely honest, they lost 20-16 to the Cowboys. They could have beat the Cowboys. They could have taken them down, and that's kind of been the story all year, right? They've been losing to good teams, but they've been losing in really, really close circumstances to these good teams. And just one or two things go a different way, and this Minnesota Vikings team is winning these games. Number 15, I got the Cleveland Browns, who are currently sitting at 4-4. And yeah, they just lost to the Steelers in a really ugly game. And they've had a couple really ugly games this year. But they're really injured guys. I mean, they've got so many guys out. Kareem Hunt's out for the year. I think the Browns have the pieces. They just need to put the pieces together. And I think they could. Number 14, we got the New Orleans Saints. They're up one spot from 15, and I would have given them a lot more credit than that, because they beat the Buccaneers. They didn't just beat the Buccaneers, they really handled the Buccaneers, and Tom Brady tried to do Tom Brady things at the end and come back and win. So in theory, they could challenge the Buccaneers for this division, except they lost Jameis Winston for the year with an ACL. So kind of a bittersweet win. Number 13 is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, they were on bye this week. They still got bumped up a spot. With the Chargers losing to the Patriots, the Raiders are in control of this division now. The Chiefs are still hanging around. We'll get to them in a second. But, I just want to point out that, I respect the hell out of what the Raiders have been doing. Number 12, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't feel great having them this high when they're 4-4, especially underneath the division-leading Las Vegas Raiders. That's just the way that things have kind of shaken up in the power rankings this year. And then they go out and do stuff like this against the Giants, where I thought throughout quite a bit of that game that the Kansas City Chiefs had a chance to lose that game, and really kind of felt like they might end up losing that game. But they pulled it out with the win, and I'm not going to knock a team down if you got to win, unless you got something like a massive season-changing injury out of that win. And finally, for this category, got Tennessee Titans at number 11. They're 6-2. Great feelings. Oh, it sounds so amazing, right? You're probably thinking, what the hell, Kyle? Why are you taking the Tennessee Titans down 2 pegs when they had such a great, hard-fought win against a tough division opponent? Well, Derrick Henry's out for the year. What the hell else? What the hell are the Titans going to do the rest of the season without Derrick Henry? Who are the Titans without Derrick Henry? I don't understand what they're going to do. Have you ever heard of a Pyrrhic victory? I can't think of any other possible way to describe that. Second to last category, we've got the contenders. We've got the teams that I truly believe are cut from the right cloth, the teams that may not be true Super Bowl level caliber teams, but are these are the teams that are potentially going to make some noise in January. So number 10, you've got the Cincinnati Bengals. And I promise you guys I am being as objective as I possibly can in these things. I had the Bengals at number 6 this week, so I definitely knocked them down for losing to the Jets. But I'm also not panicking about the Cincinnati Bengals team. I think the Jets, are a better team than they were last year. And that's not an excuse. The Bengals, they're a young team. I think they're going to learn. I got them still in the top 10, just barely, but I still got them in the top 10 because I still think this is a really talented football team that is probably just going to bounce back next week against a struggling Browns team, to be honest with you. Number 9, you got the Los Angeles Chargers. They just got blown out by the Baltimore Ravens a few weeks ago. They went on bye week, and then they came out and they laid, I don't want to say a complete egg, but they definitely didn't do enough to win against the New England Patriots team. A New England Patriots team that is surging, by the way. Not the 2020 New England Patriots with Cam Newton. We're talking about a New England Patriots team that is starting to get their feet under them. Number 8, I got the New England Patriots, who are up way up. I had them at 16 last week, guys. But here's the thing. I had them, they were down in like the mid-20s not too long ago because, I mean, they just got off to an abysmal start to their season. But they're back to 4-4 now, and they've got nothing but momentum built up. They're, out here, they're not just beating teams, but they're beating good teams. They're putting their mark on the league right now. And maybe 8's a little high. I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for putting the New England Patriots in number 8 this quickly. But I think the New England Patriots are dangerous right now. If we're talking about just like how the teams look right now, I think the New England Patriots look as dangerous as anybody. Number 7, you got the Baltimore Ravens, who are up 3 spots from 10 last week, despite being on bye. So, how on earth are they going up that high? Well, the Ravens had an incredible bye week. They did lose Malik Harrison to an unfortunate shooting incident. So, that's unfortunate for him. Sounds like it's not life-threatening, but, still, hope he gets better, hope everything's good there. But the Ravens themselves, as far as, football and the standings are considered, I haven't forgotten that they got blown out by the Cincinnati Bengals before their bye week in their own home stadium. But the Bengals fell back to earth against the Jets. Not to mention, pretty much all the other AFC contenders, except for the Bills, stumbled this week. Final team in my contender category is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 6. Last week, they were number 2. I still think they're contenders. I think they're going to bounce back. I think they're going to be fine. But, Tom Brady throwing that pick kind of reminded us all of that interception he threw against the Titans in the playoffs. I'm not here to doubt the greatest quarterback of all time. But I am here to tell you that I can't, in all good consciousness, put them in my top 3 teams. All right, my final category, you got the Super Bowl caliber team. So number 5, you got the Los Angeles Rams, who are currently 7-1, and they just, put a smacking on the Houston Texans. Now, I'm not going to give the Rams a gigantic boost for this because it is the Texans after all. But, you got to give the Rams credit for what they did. Number 4, I got the Arizona Cardinals. They were my number 1 team last week, but they lost. So, I'm not going to knock them out of like the top 10 or anything like that for losing to the Packers. Although the Packers are pretty banged up, so, AJ Green, you got to know what the play call is. At number 3, I got the Dallas Cowboys, who are 6-1, move ahead to 6-1 after outlasting the Minnesota Vikings. Dallas Cowboys have shown that they are a true contender in the NFL right now. They can win the easy games, they can win the hard games, they can win the hard-fought games, they can win against pretty much anybody. I'm not going to automatically vault the Cowboys to number 1 for barely beating the Vikings, but I'll give them a little bit of a boost from number 4 to number 3. Number 2, I got the Buffalo Bills, who pretty convincing win against the Miami Dolphins. Nothing terribly exciting. I do have them moving up a spot. This is the best team in the AFC, and how can the best team in the AFC not be at least the second best team in the NFL? The only other team that you could really maybe make an argument for is the Tennessee Titans. But where are they going to be without Derrick Henry? And I know they beat the Bills, but I don't think they're going to, maintain their level of success without Derrick Henry. Finally, number 1, I've got the Green Bay Packers, who were previously my number 7 team last week. But man, they showed me what they are capable of this week. They are absolutely banged up, injured to crapping back, dude. And I don't understand how the Green Bay Packers just keep going out there and winning, but they're doing it. And it's ridiculous. And Aaron Rodgers is a god for what he's doing. Matt LaFleur, honestly, I think right now should be the favorite for Coach of the Year for the coaching job he's doing right now. The Green Bay Packers just took down the last undefeated team in the NFL and a really good Arizona Cardinals team. And because of that, I don't see any other possible reaction other than to put them at number 1 in my power rankings. So let me know what you guys think. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out here disagreeing with where I got certain players. Power rankings are always going to be controversial, and I can't wait to see what people say about it, to be completely honest with you. So why don't you guys tell me what you think about them? Leave a comment down below. I'll try my best to respond to every single one of them, and I'll feature the best comments in the next video. But anyway, guys, Thanks for listening. You can catch more of what I do at Kyle Phelps92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Phelps. Go check out my writing work on atbnetwork.com. Go check out my podcast, the Battle of Ohio podcast, which I will link down in the description below. It's me and Thomas Stargell from the Thomas J Network. He's a big Browns fan, and we talk about the rivalry between the Bengals and Browns that's reemerging, and both of these teams are getting hot and resurging, and kind of being big players in the NFL. And also, it's a rivalry podcast, so we do a bit of trash talking too, and it's a lot of fun. So you're gonna want to go check that out. But definitely don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the comment here. Both really help out the channel. But anyway, I'll catch y'all next time, and for now, I'll leave y'all with a hoo day.